You're listening to the 93rd edition of the Bitachon podcast. We continue now with some quotes from Sukkim and Mishlei. So we spoke of many ideas from David Hamelech, King David, and now we're going to get some ideas from his son, Shlomo Hamelech, King Solomon. Bitachon Hashem b'chol libecho, v'binoscha al tishoin. This is the pasuk, which is the very first pasuk at the beginning of the Madrigas Adam section of Bitachon, which he quotes. Trust in Hashem with all of your heart, and do not depend on your own intellect. Well, really, binascha means your own intuition. Don't trust your intuition. Of course, sometimes, or many times, we should trust our intuition. But when it comes to matters of bitachon, go with bitachon. Let's see, there's some explanations here. Bitachon Hashem, trust in Hashem, k'may al Hashem. It's like, says the Ibn Ezra, put your trust upon Hashem. And the reason here is, says the Ibn Ezra, you studied in university, you know the rules of the game, you learn business, you know what PR is about, you know all these things. Don't trust it, don't depend on it. Shataymar, I know the rules, I know the way business works, I know how to get success. Trust in Hashem. Put your faith in Hashem. Either, as the Alter of Navardik says, don't play by those rules, meaning don't assume that those rules will work, and put your faith completely in Hashem. Or, alternatively, as the Chavis Halavavis understands, when you do your efforts, you have to constantly remind yourself, it's not my efforts that are accomplishing this, it is Hashem who's helping me, and I need to just put all of my efforts into trusting Hashem. Al tishoin, says the Metzudas David, do not depend upon your own bina, your own intuition. Al tachshay bevadei atzliach. Hoyel v'nasa davar bebina. Look, I'm doing things smart. I'm doing things intuitively. I'm doing things in a way that I know works. It's worked in the past. I know it's gonna. I believe it's gonna work again. Don't think that for sure it's going to succeed just because you're doing it with wisdom. Everything is in Hashem's hands, and not in the hands of the person's intellect. That's what Mr. David says. So we need to remind ourselves, even as we put in efforts, even as we are doing ishtadlus, even as we are involved in normal, healthy efforts that we do in order to succeed, reminding ourselves that that doesn't guarantee success, even if it worked before. It may not work again. It depends on Hashem. It depends on Hashem. The old ways may or may not work. Says Rashi, B'tachal Hashem, U'pazer mo'isecha, L'vakesh l'charav. Very interesting. Rashi gives us a completely different idea, which is also essential and important, and that is that when it comes to doing what's right, when it comes to doing Hashem's will, when it comes to succeeding in life, it's not enough for me to depend on my own wisdom. It's not enough for me to use my own intellect and my own understanding. Take your money, says Rashi, take your money and spend it on finding yourself a Rav, on finding yourself a guide, a spiritual guide, who can help you and guide you based on spiritual principles, based on the ways of the Torah, based on the intellect of the Torah. My intellect may or may not work, but the Torah is timeless. The Torah transcends time. The Torah has been here for 3,300 years. The Jewish people exist because of the Torah, because they kept the Torah. So, if I want to succeed, take that money that you would have invested in the stock market, in your business, take that money and spend it on finding a Rav, on finding somebody that you can ask questions to, spiritual questions to. That's Rashi. Now we have the Malbim. Bitachal Hashem b'chol libcho. Trust in Hashem b'chol libecha, with all your heart. Yan shechukei hachachma nisgavim mibinas ha'adam. The truth is, says the Malbim, that the true wisdom, the rules of wisdom, the all-encompassing rules, that if you knew them all, if you knew all of the ways that people work, that business works, that the economy functions, etc., etc., if you knew everything, it could be that you could figure it out and succeed based on those rules. But it's something that's beyond us. It's really beyond us. And therefore, you can't attain them in an absolute way. Right? It's like trying to guess what the weather's going to look like in a week from now. The weatherman might know what's going to happen later today. Might even know what's going to happen tomorrow. You can't know what's going to happen for a week from now. If you make a study of all of the times the weatherman was wrong on what's going to happen in a week from now, it probably would be at around 98%. I'm making up the number, but that's what it would seem to me. Right? It's not possible to know all of the rules and all the ways that everything interacts. It's not really possible to know that. There are some basics that we can know, human behavior and how they think and how they work and what drives them to purchase things, etc. But to know the whole picture and to really guarantee success, it's not possible. And actually, if you depend on your own intellect, if you depend on your own intuition, it's going to end you up in a different place, which is the opposite of wisdom, which is the opposite of the truth. That's why the pasuk says, don't trust your own intellect. A person cannot really acquire that intellect based on his own wisdom. It's something which is God-given. You want to know why people succeed? If you ask people in business, why does this person succeed? You ask people in music, why does somebody succeed? People will always say the truth. They know deep down in their hearts, the truth, which is that a person succeeds because he has siyata d'shmaya, because he has divine help. Says the Malbim foundation, which we've spoken about numerous times over the past few weeks and months, that if I want to succeed in life, there's only one way, really. There's only one way. I mean, I can bulldog my way through for a certain amount of time, but it does get old. It does lose its power. Right? So at some point, I have to realize that what is the true path, or what is the spiritual path, what is the Jewish path for success in life? Not just in ruchnius, not just in spiritual matters, but in physical matters. This the way the path is. Trust in Hashem with all of your heart. Do the mitzvahs of Hashem. Fulfill God's will. That gets you aligned and in sync with God. And then, God commanded us and gave us the statutes and laws of the Torah, not just for us to be His slaves, but for us to be able to have a truly good life, to be aligned spiritually with the spiritual reality, the basis of the world, which is the Torah. Don't depend on your own intellect. Depend only on Hashem. And then you will have success, true success, material and spiritual success. There's a pasuk in Mishlei, Per Gimel, pasuk Hey. Now we have another pasuk in Mishlei with a small explanation from the Ralbag. V'yiras Hashem miftach oiz. Shlomo Hamelech, King Solomon tells us, when a person has yiras Hashem, when a person has fear of heaven, which is an interesting word. We talk about yiras Hashem, yiras Shemayim, fear of heaven. What does that mean? It means that I respect God. I respect the spiritual reality of the world, and I'm willing to try to align myself with God's will. Having yiras Hashem, having that fear of heaven, having fear of Hashem, miftach oiz, it's a powerful guarantee. It's a powerful guarantee. Interestingly, Shlomo Hamelech tells us that when I have that, besides for the spiritual guarantee, if you're a Shemayim, if I fear heaven, I'm concerned, what does God think? I care about that. I care, am I doing what's right in God's eyes? So that's a powerful guarantee that things are going to be good in my life. But not just that, it's going to reflect in my children. My children will be protected by this as well. On one hand, when we speak about Bitachon, when we speak about faith in Hashem, when we speak about a sense of confidence that God is going to take care of us, of course it rubs off on our kids. We start to hear them talking that way as well. And we start to see it and they see it as well. But besides to that, he says, listen to the Ralbag says, V'yiras Hashem yesh l'toich be'uza yisborach. A person should trust in God's power. Sheyatzil ha'ishahu Yirei Hashem. That God will save the person who fears God. The person fears God. You know, I don't want to say like I'm getting in on God's good side, but as we've spoken about many times, when I align myself with HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will, I'm in that space. I'm beholden to God. I'm in a space. That space is a very similar feeling inside of the psyche as the feeling of Bitachon. I'm aligning myself. I'm in the space of God. And the result is what? Hashem shows greater divine providence to that person because he's aligned with Hashem. Gam livnei ha'ish ye Hashem yisbarach lemagen ulemachsa aleim b'schus aviyim. So, the children of that person, a person who works on Bitachon, it's something that the kids will also, so to speak, inherit. They also get a special protection as a result of the parents who have Bitachon. I remember my Rosh Hashiva speaking about stories of particular people who are great Bali Bitachon, the things that they did during World War II in order to be saved. They had tremendous Bitachon, they were saved in a miraculous way. Very interesting stories are brought down actually in my Rosh Hashiva's book, Faith Over Fear. And their children also experienced, he mentions, they also experienced a girl was on a bus, something happened, the window shattered, and the piece of glass hit her, the contact, the contact lens that was in her eye. The contact lens prevented damage to her eye. And when questioned about it, the girl said, yeah, our family has special hashgacha pratis all the time. We have unusual divine providence in our lives. V'atzila meharoi, says the Ralbag. This protects them and saves them from anything bad that could have come upon them. So it's a pasuk. When we have Bitachon, we're investing in our children. People are worried about their children and worried about guaranteeing their children's future and giving them a good education, making sure they have parnasa, taking care of them, helping them to get married, to get off on the right foot. You want to help your kids really? You want to help them properly? Have Bitachon, develop Bitachon. You're giving them a gift for life. Okay, that's pasuk in Mishlei Yudal Chavav. Now we're going to read another pasuk in Mishlei Tazayin pasuk Chav. Maskil al davar yimtza toiv, v'tech b'Shem ashrav. I'm going to translate the pasuk simply, and we'll see how the Meforshim explain it. Maskil al davar yimtza toiv. Someone who is wise in a matter will find good. V'tech b'Shem ashrav. You want to trust in Hashem? Wow, that's like beyond. He's incredibly joyous. He lives a life of absolute joy. Maskil al davar yimtza toiv. Hanoisin lev lisbainan al dvarav lefalis es derachav yimtza toiv. Someone who pays attention and works on and thinks about and is trying to figure out what is it exactly that Hashem wants. And he's trying to balance his ways. Lefalis es derachav. He's trying to find balance in his life. That person will find good. Yimtza toiv. V'tech b'Shem ashrav, says Rashi, kishu mefalis derachav v'roya b'mitzvah, sheyesh bo sakana, chisaron kis, v'tech b'Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Let's say a person sees in front of him there's an opportunity to do Hashem's will, to do God's will, to fulfill a mitzvah, to perform a commandment, and yet it seems that if I do this thing, which is the right thing to do, I got to do it. It's the right thing to do. There's a chance I might be damaged by it. There's a chance I might lose out. I might undertake a financial loss. But still, he does it because it's right. He does it because it's right. Ashrav, praiseworthy is he. Hein ashurav shaloi. This is, as Rashi understands it, this is his praise. This person is praised. It's an incredible praise to be willing to do what's right, and that's very much in line with Bitachon. I'm willing to do what's right because it's right, come what may. Come what may, right? A real person. A person who's trying to do God's will. A real person is willing to do what's right, even if it looks like he's going to lose out because of it. Reminds me of a story in Faith Over Fear as well. Another story where there was a particular person who Rosh Hashiva was speaking to, who had lent a particular from institution $1 million, and the place was not paying back. And Rosh Hashiva said to him, why don't you bring him to a beis din, bring him to a rabbinical court. You have a right to that money. And the man said, I don't want to create a chil Hashem that a from institution, an Orthodox institution, is not paying back the $1 million that I'm owed. It's a chil Hashem for such a thing to be brought in front of a beis din. He said, but they're making the chil Hashem, not you. I mean, can you imagine this? $1 million. The guy didn't want to get back his $1 million because he didn't want there to come out a chil Hashem that someone is not paying him back. That's a Bitachon. Ashraf says the Ibn Ezra, Shehemu Usha B'Revois Tevasai. We think that the way to get what we need, the way to get the money we need, the way to get our needs met, there's certain natural ways. Hey, I take that, I bring him to beis din. Pay me back the $1 million you owe me. There's another way, and that is aligning with Hashem's will, as we've spoken about so many times. That's what brings about true good in a person's life. Seems like I might lose out, but in the end I don't lose out. Mitzudas David, Maskil, when a person thinks and he looks to the end of the matter, he will find good, because he will succeed. Right? A person can't succeed, right? Of course. In life, a person does certain things and seems to have success, right? It looks like I did something and I succeeded because of the efforts that I did, or whatever it is. Says the Mitzudas David. But if I'm misbinding into it, if I look carefully at it, I'll see that the success came from Hashem. I'll realize that it was because I trusted in Hashem, or it was because Hashem gave me siyata d'shmaya, because God gave me special divine assistance. If I trust in Hashem, despite it looking like it was my efforts that did it, etc., says Mitzudas David, Ashrei Loi, that person is truly praiseworthy. It's hard to believe that my efforts are not that which brought about the results which I saw, the success that I saw. But if I can attribute it to Hashem, despite the way things look, that's awesome. That's incredible. That person is praised by Shlomo Hamelech. Finally, we have the Malbim of Alamaskil al Davar Mavakish Besichloi. Ich be'eze oifen yase. Yimtze tzoif. So, a person who thinks into the matter and tries to figure things out with his mind, how and what's the right thing to do, how can I succeed, so you'll find good. V'yesh havdel ben matzliach u'ben maskil. Now there's a difference between someone who succeeds versus someone who is wise, right? The word matzliach, ha'atzlachi b'mikreh al pi ha'mazel. Right? When we talk about atzlacha, we should have success, right? So that's a word that we use to talk about things that just kind of happen based on your mazel, based on how things run in the world. But a person who's wise, so he's not just relying on luck, so to speak. He's looking for good paths, good means, right? There's a few ways that I can get to success. Do the means justify the ends? I want to be successful in a spiritual way. I want to, let's say, be a Rosh Hashiva. I want to teach people. Do the ends justify the means? I can hack my way through, bulldog my way through. Right, so you can figure things out and you can succeed that way. Says the Malbim, there's a better way, there's another way. You're not trying to figure it out. You're not trying to figure it out. Not trying to line up all of the pins, line up all of the dominoes so that I can knock down this one and in the end I'll get that final thing that I seek. Rather, I trust in Hashem and I believe Hashem Yasa Kol Kefia Hashkacha. That I'm not looking for luck. I'm not looking for success because I'm so smart and I figured out how to get success. But rather, I'm just saying, look, Hashem, you know what's right. You know what's best. You know what's best for me. You know what's best for everyone around me. As Ashraf. So this is really praiseworthy. This is really something that a person can be happy about. This is really something that a person can consider himself truly fortunate. Fortunate in a spiritual sense. Because this is the real success, and this is the real joy, that it's a spiritual joy. Hashgachis. When a person falls into the arms of Hashem's divine providence, because a person who is happy in this way is much greater than someone who's successful. Because now we're speaking about a joy, says the Malbim, a spiritual joy. And you can't compare the joy that a person experiences from success to the joy that a person experiences from spiritual success, from knowing that everything that's in my life really is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, really is from God, and really is what Hashem wants, and not something that I squeezed out of life, but rather something which is exactly where Hashem wants me to be, because it's Hashem guiding me and leading me and bringing those good things into my life exactly as they are, not too much and not too little. Thank you so much for listening. See you again next time.